What's up, guys? Welcome to the all-new High Vibe Run and Gun Tarot. I hope you got your wool on. I hope you got your 100% cotton on. I hope you got your fine linens on. And or one or the other. Remember not to mix and match, cocksuckers. Spirit of gratitude, joy, love, and light, highest possible messages at this time. Spirit of gratitude, joy, love, and light, highest possible messages at this time. For the creative collective unconscious, as always, Run and Gun Tarot across all social media. The N spelled with the letter N. The website spelled different, A-N-D. But nonetheless, Run and Gun Tarot. DM me for a read or hop on for a live read right now. Anything else, just feel free to reach out. I am logged on to my two websites that I professionally read for. So if I get an incoming call or chat, feel free to be a fly on the wall. Spirit of gratitude, joy, love, and light, highest possible messages at this time. I'm going to pull a card from each deck, try to get a creative collective meaning here. This is coming out of confusion here. Seven of Cups in the reverse. It could be read in a couple different ways. The Seven of Cups in reverse could be confusion. I mean, mixed with the Moon card in the reverse. This is fear of the unknown. Keep in mind that conceptually, just when you're in your most kind of ignorant, blind spot, it tends to be that there are blessings, pennies from heaven, something outside of your realm, your sphere of expertise and knowledge that will come through. I'm a living proof and example of it. Last night even, I prayed for the first time, just over my finances and stuff. Personal relationship with God or a higher power. And I woke up this morning and sure enough, motherfucking Gavin Newsom passed a middle class tax break. And there was some 350 in my account. I was like, what the fuck? I was negative 113. And sure enough, so this is healthy expression of energy, remembering to maintain kind of diligence over what it is that you have control over. The Knight of Wands in the reverse. So needless to say, a dope-ass way to kick off October. Okay. Let's see, what else? This is the Homestuck Tarot. I was doing some research earlier on high vibrational clothing, and I threw on some 100% cotton. This hat's 100% cotton. This shirt's 100% cotton, and I feel better already. They say wool is the highest frequency. It's at 5,000 hertz or something. And then linen is also around 5,000. They say wool is at 100. They say polyester is at 0 or something. It's at the level of a dead person, 15. So in the Bible, when they say, not to be that dude that's in the Bible, but it makes you think what these old sayings are actually in reference to, also a wolf in sheep's clothing. Wool is high vibrational. So you want to be a wolf, you want to be a protector of the weak, but you also want to wear high vibrational clothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's really dope. I also shaved today. Feeling and looking like $1 million. So yeah, I think that there's some truth in that. And I do want to experiment a little bit more with Tibetan bell before each live stream. I do want to experiment more with the only crazy thing is that you notice when you start to go shopping. I was shopping earlier and I had some time to myself, luckily, because I had that payment. So it's only in California, but I actually had time to breathe and think, and I was researching clothing. I wanted to get some new clothing, and I went down this rabbit hole so randomly about like something sparked in my mind, I don't know even how it happened, but um, I honestly don't even know what made me think of it, but something made me think to, or I found myself happenstance, uh, you know, looking at like, is this 100% or is this like half and half? Is this like 100% linen, 100% cotton? Because you're not supposed to mix because they cancel off each other. Like you're not supposed to mix fabrics, and that's what I was saying just now. They say that in the Bible itself, which is crazy. So I'm gonna try to do that more. I actually separated my clothes earlier, and I try to see um, what was like spandex or polyester and like synthetic. They say that that's the lowest vibrational, and what was like 100%. And they say if it's mixed, it's also like a lower vibration. So I was like, okay, well, what do I have all that's like 100% cotton? So I like actually found all my shirts that were 100% cotton, all my button ups, all my nice shirts. And then I was looking at like jean. Jean is a form of cotton denim, so it's like that's cotton. Um, but my thing is like wool, but like you'll find like even if you're shopping on Amazon, like that shit is expensive for a reason. I'm fucking 33 years old, and the light bulb only went off like literally today as to like, holy shit, you pay more for that because of the quality, but yeah, it's high vibrational. Like if you want like a wool fucking button up flannel like this, it's gonna cost you like $100 at least. And then you got to make sure if it's dry wash or machine wash. So it's just crazy interesting. So I'm gonna fuck with that a lot more, because before I would just like mindlessly buy like Old Navy stuff, but then I'm like, but then you're buying like polyester and cotton, and it's like it doesn't do anything for your vibration. So from now on, I'm gonna either be doing 100% cotton. I really want, if I get the money, 100% wool, and then of course linen. And then I think I want to see flax, because apparently I don't know if it's true or not, if there are articles of clothing that is 100% flax, but there's this old like Jewish scientist that did like studies on like highest vibrational clothing. And so in a weird way, it's like your clothing becomes your armor. So something to keep in mind here. But so you got the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse here. This is about financial dependence. Okay, not doing so great financially, possibly. I just said I had that kind of blessings, pennies from heaven. So hopefully you have blessings and somewhat of an October surprise for yourself. Spirit of gratitude, joy, love, and light, highest possible messages at this time. Yeah, man, praying to fucking God yesterday was so crazy. Like I hadn't done that in a while. And it makes you like sincerely praying and asking for forgiveness for any and all trespasses, past, present, future, regardless of what they may have been. And I woke up and I had fucking 350 plus in my account. I was like, what the fuck? It was insane. So it makes you wonder, like, the chicken or the egg. You know what I'm saying? Like, what came first? Well, the egg did, but you know what I'm saying? But I wonder. I wonder if it was more so like my storyline needing to fit that into my reality because unconsciously I know something is coming that's good, or if I just am completely consciously aware but blinded in my awareness, with my awareness. So it's like, yeah. Was it this kind of perfect, beautiful miracle? And it's funny because I was talking to my mom about that too, where like my grandpa, he had a Christmas tree light bulb thing. It was a light bulb with a Christmas tree ornament thing on it that lit. The light bulb illuminated the lights on the tree. It's like a ceramic glass thing for the holidays. It's just like a little nightlight thing. And for Christmas, it's a Christmas tree that my mom bought him and put it next to his bedstand when he was in hospice. and she said that she would keep it on because it was their night light. But then one night he like shouted, he was dying essentially septic, but he was like, shut that thing off, like he said it all loud and shit. And then she said when he passed, the light never worked again, and the nurse said that, oh, he took the light with him. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Shit's crazy. See, I mean, like, I think a part of like what made me think about like high vibrational clothing, like I said, wool. Like I live in LA, so I want to be like temperature appropriate, but like I look at that as like chainmail, like armor. Like if you have some fucking 100% wool, high vibrational shit. Um, the article that I was reading was saying it's like 500 or it's like 5,000. Um, like I don't know what units they were using. I don't know if it was hertz or I don't know if it was frequencies. And cotton is 100. It's only 100. The wool is 5,000 and linen is 5,000. And then it makes you think what motherfuckers were wearing in like the Old Testament and shit. So I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna start trying to wear those types of linens and raise my vibration. And you always hear like these woke people. Well, every once in a while it'll get through the cracks and you'll hear someone be like, "Oh, they have us wearing dead clothes." Like, what the fuck does that mean? They're talking about the polyester, the synthetics. It has a low vibration frequency. It's like the frequency of like a dead person. So instead of your shit that you're wearing boosting and lifting your vibe, it's fucking bringing you down. So I'm gonna experiment with that. Me, I do electric scooter deliveries for DoorDash, Grubhub, and Uber Eats. I used to do it for DoorDash, but I got that canceled because they were bitching, falsely accused me of like not being on time or missing deliveries. But it was like I would make a delivery and then I would forget to mark complete or some bullshit like that, just for DoorDash. But so now I only do for Grubhub and Uber Eats. I always get the names confused. I gotta tell myself that Grubhub is the orange and Uber Eats is the green. DoorDash is the red. But Grubhub used to be the red, so I'm confused. That's how I was confused. I remember ordering from Grubhub online back in the day. But so watch my microphone not be on this whole time. So yeah, when I go out and do deliveries around LA, I want to like I'm like out in the open, so my energy is like exposed and vulnerable. So it makes me think I'm gonna start trying to be mindful about like throwing out like those like polyester synthetic clothing as much as I can. I mean, it's gonna cost money, obviously, but I think it's something that I can work on to be more conscious and mindful about the clothes that I wear. You know what I'm saying? Super dope. I would really want to do that. This is getting too subjectively involved. It's very interesting. I did meditate as well last night for a little bit, and I noticed that it helped me kind of shut off the mantra, the chattering, thinking, combative mind. And I got to remind myself that anytime my thoughts are overwhelming, thoughts, mantra, overwhelming, meditate to let go. Reconvene with source, because literally the meditation for me yesterday was just to completely let my guard down. Because sometimes like I'll be watching like podcasts and TV and I'll still be doing like my mantra. I do a mantra. It helps me focus like when I'm like going really fast doing deliveries and like because there's a lot of things like coming at you, and so it just helps me. But then I almost feel as though my ego gets caught because I find myself doing them against in defense of people. Where I feel like if somebody's like laughing at me because I'm on my electric scooter, I got my big green bag, my delivery bag, my Uber Eats bag. It's just like a square pizza bag, and I get in my, obviously everyone has an ego, so you get self-conscious, you get in your head, and then you try to like, I used to find myself more, I've become recently aware of it, where I'm not doing my mantras in defense of others. More so, I'm doing mantras so I can mechanically focus while I'm driving on my scooter. So I just recently came across the differentiation between the two ideas, which I find is fascinating. Not doing mantras as a defense mechanism towards others, but doing mantras for yourself when you're alone, if you're anxious, or if you're driving really fast and you need to focus so that the anxious, overwhelming energies don't get to you. Something like that. High Priestess in the reverse is subjugation. So again, tapping into the meditation, tapping into the objectivity of it all is how I'm looking at that. Very cool. So yeah, I mean, I guess the takeaway was for clothes, you want to think quality over quantity. Because it's true. You're looking, you're like, why is this flannel $25 and this one's $150? And then it dawns on you. You're like, oh, this is 100% wool. You know what I'm saying? That shit's crazy. Oh, I know what I want for Christmas. Son of a bitch. I've been saying that a lot. It reminds me of Fez from the 70s show. That 70s show. It started because Will Sasso on the Dudesy podcast. Shout out to Dudesy podcast. Go watch that, guys. It's funny. He would do an impersonation of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his co-host Chad Colgan. He would talk shit to Chad Colgan, his co-host, in an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. It's funny because I got Arnold Schwarzenegger above my TV right here, gray, black and white poster, gray and black and white poster that says Conquer on it. Probably see it on Amazon. But so Will Sasso's impression is he goes, Chad Colgan, you son of a bitch. The way he says it, son of a bitch. And then you got Chris D'Elia, who used to do the 10-minute podcast with Will Sasso, and then he would do Jean-Claude Van Damme, JCVD, and his version, and he would use the same kind of tag phrase. He would be like, son of a bitch. But when I say it, it reminds me of Fez from that 70s show. Son of a bitch. I want to watch that show. It's such a good time. Back in the day. Do I take cards at Fall Spirit? Yes or no? Yes or no? No. Don't take cards at Fall. Okay. I also don't take cards that... I've been doing yes or no a lot with the tarot. So... high vibrational clothes. I think these pants are 98% cotton, 2% spandex, polyester. It's so fun. High vibrational shoes. Just wear leather. Basketball shoes, sandals, high vibrational sandals. So the subjugation is putting down heavy burdens, heavy loads. The Ace of Pentacles could be kicking over emotionally. Is that a yes or no, Spirit? No, not kicking over emotionally. Emotional stagnancy, Spirit, is what you're saying to me. Self-love, 9 of Cups in the reverse, walking away emotionally versus being emotionally immature, falling out of union. So maybe you're being immature because you're trying to burn down the house and burn down the castle. Maybe Spirit is asking you to free yourself, but I see this kind of calculated methodology here. I mean, wish fulfillment. Someone's wish fulfillment. Water sign, possibly tropical. Burdensome. So these burdensomes and burdensomes cancel each other out. It's literally two of the same, but one's colored, one's not colored. I mean, I guess it could be a mindful, like for me, so feel free to apply the protagonist, but for me, this reminds me of my mom, and the King of Swords reminds me of me at times, and me just kind of giving her shit. I don't know, there's like this anger behind it, and I just keep on seeing this emotional stagnancy here. Coming out in the reverse, devil card, financial negativity, showing up the King of Wands. So for me, this is like more low vibrational. This is more high vibrational. So something flipped, something switched. Timelines is kind of what I'm feeling and kind of what I'm getting here. So now you could show up less analytical, less cold and callous, and more kind of warm and illuminary. That's what I'm getting. Below. So it's pretty slow. I might log off, and I'm feeling like tired and sleepy. I'm gonna turn on the air. I haven't been up long, but so if no one else comes on, I don't know what I should do. I might just log off. Anything else, Spirit? I do see a flip. I do see a timeline jump here. I also saw a sign that says like buried no more. Like, so to me, I think that's a sign of like a timeline jump. 9 of Pentacles in the reverse. This is finances. 10 of Wands. I could read it as 10 of Swords, Spirit, yes or no? No, 10 of Wands, okay. Doesn't want me to read it as 10 of Swords. Should I take this one, yes or no? Yes. Okay, so seeing a lot of sword action here. 10 of Wands is putting down a burden. Ace of Wands is victory. Strength is inner discipline. 4 Cups is not being emotionally receptive. Could be emotionally depressed here. Should I take that in first? Yes or no? Yes. Okay, this is tuning into friends. 10 of Cups. 6 and 4. 10 of Cups. Very interesting. Maybe read that text message. This also looks like a sword here too. Never really noticed that. It's like another thing here sticking out. I don't know what this storyline is. It's called the Homestuck Tarot, Acts 6 and 7. So if anyone ever wants to buy me all the other acts, I'd be very grateful to. This is how it looks. It looks crazy. Homestuck Tarot. 10 of Cups energy depressed, but they're connecting to others, internally reflecting, showing discipline, putting down the work and the burden, coming out as a victory, then now it's internal. 10 of Cups is focusing on more so the frequency and the vibration. Queen of Pentacles, looking good, feeling good. Judgment, second and third chances. Star card, wish fulfillment. Notice how she's pouring out the booze. She's going for the gold here. Very dope. And then more 8 of Wands, communication. So, I mean, incoming communication for you, Spirit, yes or no? No, not incoming communication, outgoing? Yes, outgoing communication here. Outside divine timing, seemingly, more on this, Spirit. Someone's at a crossroads. Being defensive, integrating their shadow side. Someone's in balance. And yet 10 of Cups prevails, even though financially there's imbalance there. Very interesting. Seven of Swords strategy, wanting power over happiness, I think, and being very cold and callous emotionally. Coming out of challenging, objectionable energy, gaslighting, a bridge, lack of rest, lack of action, lack of attention or giving. Three of Cups in the reverse is sober in reality, coming out of heartbreak, bottom of the deck, rushing. Knight of Swords, Queen of Swords, someone sending? No. Knight of Swords, self-sabotage. And lack of communication. I don't know. So you may have been trying to communicate with someone and they're just ignoring you because they're self-sabotaging. Don't take it personally. That's what I'm seeing here. Okay, I'm going to go round robin, finish this up, and then I'll log off if no one wants to jump in. But yeah, guys, if you stuck to the replay and watched this, talk about high vibrational clothing. And good on you, loving up to you. Anything else, spirit and parting, round robin and parting. Yeah, same thing, subjugation. Slow down. Enjoy the lack of communication. Enjoy the silence is what I'm getting here. I think that there is going to be some victory and rewards coming for you financially. Coming out of your mind, coming out of debt. Being a luminary is what I'm seeing as well. Overseeing the bullshit. Seeing things from a higher perspective is what I'm getting as well. Very cool. Okay, last little round robin likes, Birdie got to jail the highest possible messages like this time. Okay, lack of attention, lack of giving value. Freeing up from that. No longer worrying that. No longer playing small to that. Stepping in your kind of Empress energy. What's the Chariot in the reverse? What's the Chariot in the reverse? Death. Okay, they're off track. They don't got the priorities straight. That's not having anything to do with you. Okay, they're not seeing the bigger picture like you do. I was talking to my mom earlier over text, and I was a little butthurt because I felt like, rightly so, we had a bad conversation. I was like, calling her out on some bullshit. And so it was a little tense, heated. And when we were texting this past time earlier today, I signed off and I was like, all right, love you, Mom. I was just sharing her the good news about the financial blessing. And I noticed she didn't say love you, bye. And then I was like, after some time, I was like, hey, I texted her. I was like, did you say that because you're still mad at me from our last conversation? She's like, oh, no, I'm just super busy with work. And I noticed that there was a part of me that wanted to, give out negative energy and be like, oh, same story over and over again. Because my whole gripe with her, I think at times, is she was never really focused on the nuance, on the detail. And I guess maybe I somehow embodied that as, my story of, the wounded child, where it's your parent doesn't acknowledge you in this kind of detail-oriented way. But that's how my mom, survived, by not getting lost in the nuances and the subtleties and the details. I mean, she was one of 12, so I guess she just inherently didn't have that nuance and that detail. And with me being one out of 3, I guess I'm just more finely attuned. And so I think the wounded child takes it personal But I think the bigger lesson is to not take it personal, see the bigger picture. Just because she forgot to say "I love you" via text, obviously we know, your parents love you. Um, but also like kind of give them a break. They have blind spots because of their coping or how they were raised and how they're wired, and like don't take it personal. We had a conversation a while ago, and it kind of resulted on because we've just been having ups and downs lately. Me and my mom, so much like baggage, drama, and burdens from the past, trying to resolve them and complete them. But I think the takeaway was like um, you know, I don't think I think that the child is biologically, almost spiritually, even possibly that like we're supposed to have this incompleteness, so we could find out our completeness all along. If that paradoxically makes sense in a spiritual sense, it makes sense spiritually because if your parents filled every little hole or void or whatever, like then you wouldn't ever leave and go live your life and your own journey. So it's like instead of taking those little nuanced details where you think like, you know, or where you get upset, just know like, oh, I don't need that anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do I count this? So yeah, it's like a completion of a lesson almost. Sorry, something on here sidetracked me. I just wanted to see what was on the card. Um, so yeah, it's almost as if like it does require maturity because I think that there's this wanting to fall back into the cycle of like, oh, same old mom is prioritizing her work before her son. I think part of me like felt like that, but what good does it do? Why would I give more value to that when I could just give more value to myself? Is it a fear of being alone? Possibly, but the truth is that like I'm already alone slash never alone slash the more integrated I am with spirituality or like spirit or like the nothingness void, which we all come from and are currently in and are going back to paradoxically somehow. Tridox instead of paradox, and it's like I guess the end result is like, well, why would I purchase even though you're valid, like based on logic, why would you purchase that? You're only hurting yourself, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're only like, for me to be upset and be like, and guilt her and be like, same old mom, da 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 da, and connect it to a bigger thread, when for her it's not, you know, so it's like for her it's like, oh, I'm literally scrambling to like finish work so I could go and log off and whatever. I mean, it's valid though. Like both sides are valid. I think that's the tricky part on her end. I guess it's valid that she's trying to like scramble and whatever, but she's put herself in that position. But I guess that's how she's coped and survived in life. Versus on my end, yeah, maybe I feel like I get the shit end of the stick or the butt end of the stick. But it's like, at what point do I'm just like, I'm not gonna give you power anymore. Like you're not worth it. I'm worth it. I'm worth being happy, whole, and complete. And but what is that? Because it is very tempting to like be like, I don't know, play small. I'm not sure if there's a fine line or a balance between trying to validate how you really feel. I mean, in the practical context of like again, the initial kind of thing of like thinking like, wait a minute, why didn't you say love you back or why it meant something at all was because I think our last conversation ended on a bumpy road, ended on rocks. So it's like that. To be honest, that was initially the context by which I was like, are you still mad? Is that why you didn't say that? But it's like, no, she was just being mindless. Like she was being thoughtless. Whereas it's like me, I'm like, that's my whole world, that kind of nuance. So it's like, I can't say that one is worse than the other. I don't think that's fair to myself. But so I'm trying to wrap all these different kind of variables. These working models of thought. Yeah, I'm just trying to think and figure it out. Like on the one hand, I think I'm valid by thinking that. And it's like, okay, your validity allows you to clear it, find out what it really was. She was on a time frame or a crunch. But then noticing or acknowledging or applying that to something that's been a through line in our relationship, which is I feel that she's always prioritized work and others over me and the nuance that I required. But again, I guess the bigger picture to that then is that, well, just because she doesn't have your level of nuance and attention to detail doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. It just means that she doesn't have that nuance and attention to detail. And the only way that I could objectively justify it is that it's just her lack and her limitation. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. Likewise with my dad, I guess, for that matter, his lack of limitation. So then I guess at a certain point, like, I don't know, spiritual journey or part of being an adult or a maturing person, man, whatever you are, is just like, I don't want to say accepting people's limitations, but maybe, because I got some flack for the word acceptance. A person that I really don't like in my past, he used to say that, and I don't like that because I don't like him, so I think I'm jaded against that word. But all that I could do, I guess, is not take it personally, not take it as she doesn't love me, obviously, but it's like she's not supposed to love me in that way. I guess, if that makes sense. Like maybe my wife is supposed to love me in that nuanced, detailed way, or something like that. Or maybe I'm supposed to love myself in that nuanced and detailed way. I think there's something to that. Because if I could ask like a ballpark, big picture question, like in my life, can I get over that? Yes or no? I'd say yes. Is it easier or is it hard? It's easier. Can I do it now? Yes. Why not? Why wouldn't I give myself that gift? And then that kind of goes in line with like saying like some of my positive affirmations are like I'm 100% whole, complete, happy, whole, and complete. Yeah, I think you just gotta like let it go and just see it as like just because she doesn't love you in the way that you want and need doesn't mean she doesn't love you. It's just that that's like the best that she could do. And then I guess it's like the reconciling the fact that like your parents are like limited and fallible. I'm like, I guess not perfect. I guess it's a part of that. Or realizing that they're just people. You know what I'm saying? In which case, what? Then I guess you just have compassion for them. You know what I'm saying? Poor bitch. Poor bastard. I was being a little shit. I mean, my dad's sister was like recently ill, and my sisters texted me. They were trying to say some shit, like, "Oh, he's really scared" and all that stuff. And I was like, I was like thinking of things to say back, and then part of me was like, "Poor bastard. He's had a hard life. Poor son of a bitch." But I don't know. I'm trying to think about that thing. I guess it's just accepting like in our dynamic because she's so like crazy. there's this thing that wanted to attribute that to me. I'm not enough. But that's not true. It's just that she's fucking crazy and that has nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? Oh my god, I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. I think it's just my mom is crazy and that has nothing to do with me. Crazy and that to do with me. That's the title of my book. Fuck yeah. Because I think like if you know, yeah, like someone's crazy and then you think it's about you or something wants to make it about you, and I think that that's where the childhood wound comes from. Comes from making parents craziness about you. I think that that's what it is. It's like the childhood wound comes from like making your parents baggage or their craziness or their shortcomings or their being human about you as a kid. But why would the kid do that? Why would a kid do that? Oh, because the kid loves the parents. Why a kid would do that? Because kid loves parents, wants to help. I remember an interesting example of that was like one time my mom thought that somebody stole money from her, and I was like, it was like a family party, and she was like, she did something which is like I don't think that you're really ever supposed to do, but she was like, "Oh my god, someone took money!" It's like we were all drinking and shit, and I remember running up there to her room. Like she had like money. I think this was after she lost her job. She was tripping over money. I don't know what we were doing. It's like garage sale money or something. And she was tripping, and she just like misplaced a bag of money in her closet or something. She got scared. It's been her story her whole life. That's where the compassion has to come in, I guess. So, by the way, this is a celebration of being able to pay off rent because part of the debt that I was in when I woke up, or last night, I should say, was because of the rent check clearing. So, thank you, God, for that too. But so going back to that story, I remember I ran up there and I was like, "It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me." And I don't know why, but that was like my instinct. And she was just like, "Okay." And then she like ran off to go find out what the fuck. And it was like a misplaced bag of money in her fucking closet. She's an idiot. But it's not me being very compassionate. But so that instinct, I think, is for the kid to want to be like, want to help. But then the kid, in turn, is limited. You know what I'm saying? Like the kid, in turn, is limited, and all it knows how to do is that. So it's like, so, the kid being limited So with the kid being limited, all it could do is try to make it about them in a limited capacity way, which objectively is limited and can't help. It's like a candle in the sun, like how Bob Dylan said. So it's crazy. It's crazy having that realization. But again, it's like if that doesn't go recognized, then you're always going to play the victim. Must recognize so as to no longer play the victim. Because all it is really is just love. It's just love and a twist. It's just misunderstood love. But when you recognize that, then you could get on with it and live your best life, live your dreams and shit. So, all right, guys. Love you. Reach out. I'll probably jump on again later tomorrow when I have time and energy. Love you guys.